All right, class, welcome. Today, we are diving into one of the absolute cornerstones of world literature, the Mahabharata. Now, this isn't just a story. You've got to think of it as a vital window into the history, philosophy, and culture of ancient India. So, let's get right into it.
Okay, to even begin to wrap our heads around the Mahabharata, you have to start with its unbelievable scale. Get this, we're talking about 1.8 million words. That makes it, by far, the longest epic poem ever written. Just let that sink in for a moment.
And if you need some perspective on that, think about Homer's classics. The Mahabharata is roughly 10 times the length of the Iliad and the Odyssey put together. I mean, wow. And that incredible size isn't just for show, right? It's a reflection of just how deeply important this text is, and it allows for this incredibly detailed world to be built. And here's something that is absolutely crucial to understand. In its own tradition, the Mahabharata isn't seen as, fiction or some kind of myth. The text actually calls itself itihasa, which literally translates to "thus it was." It's presenting itself as history, a chronicle of a huge, world-changing war that people believed really happened. Okay, so what is this epic historical drama all about? Well, at its very core, it's a dynastic struggle for the throne of the Kuru kingdom. But this is more than just politics. It's a really bitter family feud that's about to tear an entire kingdom apart. So the whole conflict really boils down to two sets of cousins. On one side, you have the 5 Pandava brothers, who are generally seen as the good guys, the virtuous ones. And on the other side, there are 100 Kaurava cousins, who are basically driven by pure jealousy and ambition. The key thing here, the thing that makes it all so tragic, is that both sides have a legitimate, though competing, claim to the throne. You can already see how this is setting the stage for an absolutely inevitable clash. But here's the crazy part. The conflict doesn't actually ignite on a battlefield. It all starts in a hall of games. The eldest Pandava, Yudhishthira, gets goaded into this rigged game of dice, and he loses everything. I mean everything. His kingdom, his brothers, and even their shared wife, Draupadi. Her public humiliation, well, that's the point of no return. It cements a kind of hatred that you just know can only be settled by war.
So after 13 long years in exile, the Pandavas finally return. They try to claim their half of the kingdom back, but negotiations fail, of course. And so, the two sides gather these massive armies at a place called Kurukshetra for what will become a cataclysmic 18-day war.
But just as this massive battle is about to kick off, the entire epic just pauses. And it pauses for one of the most profound philosophical discussions you'll ever read. The great Pandava warrior, Arjuna, he looks out across the battlefield and he sees his own family, his teachers, his cousins on the other side, and he just despairs. He can't do it. But his charioteer, who, by the way, is the god Krishna in disguise, starts to counsel him on his duty, on action, and on the very nature of reality. And this incredible dialogue becomes the celebrated Bhagavad Gita. Now, the war itself isn't supposed to be a free-for-all. It's meant to be fought according to a really strict code of conduct called Dharma Yuddha, which basically means a just war. And this isn't just about having a just cause to fight, it's also about using just means, following the rules for what they considered righteous combat. And these weren't just abstract ideas. We're talking about specific battlefield rules, like warriors on chariots could only attack other warriors on chariots. Attacking an enemy who was disarmed or running away was totally forbidden. And honestly, one of the central tragedies of the whole epic is watching how, as the war drags on, both sides get so consumed by rage and by grief that they abandon these principles one by one.
So you might be thinking, is this all just a grand tale of gods and heroes? A fantastic myth? Or is there some historical reality behind this story? Well, let's take a look at what the archaeological record has to say.
Turns out, the setting of the epic isn't some fantasy land. It has a very real historical precedent. The Kuru kingdom was a major political power during the Iron Age in India, and it flourished right around 950 BCE, which is exactly when some historians believe the war actually took place. Now, the epic as we have it today was composed and compiled over many, many centuries, but its roots are deep in this specific time and this specific place. And get this, archaeologists have even found physical evidence to back this up. There's a specific type of pottery, it's known as painted gray ware, and it's been discovered at many of the key sites mentioned right there in the epic. This gives us a tangible, physical link between the story we read and the actual landscape of ancient India. How cool is that?
Okay, so the war eventually ends. The Pandavas are victorious, but at an unimaginable cost. Both armies are, well, they're pretty much annihilated. So after all that bloodshed, what's the lasting legacy of this epic?
Well, its legacy is just immense. It's often called the fifth Veda, which puts it on the same level as the most sacred Hindu scriptures. Its complex, story-within-a-story structure has influenced countless other storytelling traditions. It's been depicted in just about every art form you can imagine, from these stunning 16th-century Persian manuscripts to modern movies. And it's still alive today, performed in vibrant folk traditions.
And all of this brings us right back to that ultimate question. After seeing its literary grandeur, its deep philosophy, and its echoes in history, what is the Mahabharata? Is it history, or is it mythology?
Maybe the best answer is that we don't actually have to choose. As the great Sanskrit scholar Robert P. Goldman puts it, it is both of those things and a great deal more. It's a foundational story for a culture, it's a moral treatise, and it's this timeless investigation into what it means to be human. It doesn't just ask what happened, it asks what it means to be human in a world full of conflict and duty.